Hey, what's up? This is TJ. Thanks for joining me. Today, I have right here is the Arturia PolyBrute, and this is episode 1 of a series of videos I'm going to do called Explorations. Explorations in sound of the PolyBrute basically means that, well, we're going to start with an initialized patch, and we're going to build a sound from it, and really just give you an idea of the workflow and some of the sounds that you can get with the PolyBrute. In between, as I go along, I'm going to interject some sounds that I've already made, do some playing for you so you can get a full idea of what's happening here. If you like the video, please do share it and subscribe to this channel. Thank you so much for your support. Check out tjontheroad.com for more. Let's get started. Alright, so I thought I would start out with just a lovely pad sound. PolyBrute does really great with that, and it's a good way to, learn your way around. So I'm going to start with the first oscillator here. Now, rather than me going through all the different oscillators and the filters and effects and so forth, there's a couple of great video series that are out there. Automatic Gain Stay has one, as well as Arturia has a great series. So check this out if you want filter sweeps and all the different sounds, basics with the synthesizer. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to dive right in. So let's see here. There's our initialized patch. Now you see here we have the choice of either a saw, triangle, a blend of the two, or we can go with the square wave. That's for just one here, VCO1. I'm going to start with that. That's our pulse width. And it's being run through just filter 2, which is the ladder filter. Alright, now that is all the way up. I'm going to turn number 2 all the way up. Okay, number 2 is currently on the saw wave. Alright, and we can add a little bit of sub in there. That'll thicken it up real nice. And let's off tune some of one a little bit. Alright, we'll leave that in an octave. Alright, nice organy sound. Let's see here. Alright, so we have this on the saw on the second one. I'm going to add a little FM. 2 goes into 1 for the FM. Yeah, that sounds really nice. And down here we have the filter FM. So VCO2 here can go into VCF1 here. All right. But first we have to turn on VCF1. So right now we're all routing through the louder filter, as I said before. I can turn them both on for both VCOs. Turn the cutoff down. Turn the key tracking up. And I'm going to run some filter FM from VCO2 into VCF1. That's the Steiner filter. Subtle effect, but pretty cool. All right, now let's work with the envelope section here. And I'm going to make this like a soft attack for both the VCA and for the VCF. Let's start with the VCA. It's a nice release. Long decay to its nice sort of midway sustain point. Give it some velocity sensitivity. And I did this pretty much the same with the filter. Let's see here. Turn the velocity up a little bit, the sensitivity, the attack. Okay, that's nice and deep. Now we got to turn the envelope mounts up. Nice and fat with some high end as well. Let's see what else we can do. Now, we have some of the basic envelope settings. I want to add in a little bit of character here. So on the ladder filter, I'm going to add some distortion. I'm going to make sure the levels are matched. Now see, I had the settings here to jump for each knob. And I'm going to add some of the brute factor to the Steiner filter. You need a little bit of resonance to hear that. Okay, so that's a good basic starting point. Now we're going to go over to the mod matrix. So we're going to hit the mods here. And the first one as a default is the pitch global. So I want to add a little bit of LFO to that, get a little bit of vibrato going. I'm going to use LFO 2 because it has a fade in. Let's set that. All right, set it to a triangle wave here and make it poly. So each individual note spins on its own. Here is the LFO 2. All right, so we're going to set that to go. Right? Just a little bit. Just about 10 cents. That's something here. Now I want to take the master cutoff and I'm going to make that a destination here. And I do that here by, let's see, an open one is number 4. I'm going to hold number 4 here and I'm just going to tap that and that'll become number 4 as the destination for the master cutoff. And I'm going to use LFO 1 to make it wiggle, as they say, as I say. Again, I made that poly, and I'm going to make that a sample and glide. Alright, so that sounded like something to start with. Now maybe I can take a little bit of the FM and I can make that a little more velocity sensitive. So I want to take number 5 slot here and I'm going to go back here to oscillator 2, wiggle that, the FM2 oscillator into 1, and then I'm going to assign that to velocity, crank that up some. Okay. Might be a little bit too much, a little bit down. Lucky 13. Okay, and maybe we'll try using the mod envelope, and I'm going to assign that to some of the resonance here. So I'm going to have a slow attack on the mod envelope and a slow decay. I think around there ought to be good. And I'm going to assign that to both the Steiner as well as to the ladder filter. So first to the Steiner, and then slot 7, we'll go to the ladder filter. Okay, and now we want to make sure that the mod envelope, alright, is increasing the resonance for both of those. Alright, as for the ladder, and this is for the Steiner. Let's hear how that sounds. going to use this crazy LFO3. LFO3 is really interesting in that it has a separate curve. It can go more outward or more inward. And it has separate symmetry controls. And it has different rate type controls where it can be a multiplier of LFO1. And then obviously you have your retrig or single. I'm going to keep that as sort of at a slow rate. And what I want to do is I want to assign that to the noise into LFO2. And I'm going to turn that up just a little bit, see how that sounds. Okay, and then the color all the way this direction is white. All the way that way is a pink noise. Alright, and then I'm going to assign the noise to VCF to slot 8 here. Alright, and then I want it to be set to LFO3, where that increases that with LFO3. Or I should say modulated. It's nice, it's a little dirty sounding, and I kind of like that. But it does have some balls on the lower end here. Alright, so the next thing I want to do is I want to take some Aftertouch. And I want to make sure that I increase the amount of pitch variance with that. So here again, I'm going to go to the second set of slots. All right, there are 8 slots apiece for a total of 64 slots, 8 times 8. Okay, and I'm going to again assign that to LFO2. Whoops, make sure I go over here and I select it. Oops, there we go. And pitch control, there we are. That's the number 1 right there. And I want to assign that to the LFO again. Okay, but I didn't assign it any value because for number 2, now I want to mod the mod with the Aftertouch. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to hit number 2. All right, now you'll see it says amount 2.E1. Okay, so number 2 is E1. So if I go to the Aftertouch here and I increase that, that's going to be the control for the amount of pitch when I use the Aftertouch. And the more pressure, the more it'll give. So that's really, really cool. So that's how you mod a mod. All right, so that's the basic architecture layout. The next thing we can do is really, really fun is we're going to be able to add some effects. So let's say, I don't know, play a chord here. And I want to add some chorus effects. You have chorus, phaser, and then all these other listening effects of flanger, 12-pole phaser, ring mod, bit crusher, another soft flanger, a phasing flanger, and a downsampler. But we all like the chorus, so I'm going to go with that. That fills it out nicely. Now the other thing that you can do is you can take the voicing and pan their stereo. So you do that by hitting the settings and going to here. Okay. And we can increase that. And we can add some delay. There's a bucketberry, BBB delay, a ping pong, and all these alternates. And then I'm going to add some spring reverb. All right, that's number 4 here. Okay, so that's a basic sound just to start out with. Now remember, the most powerful feature with the PolyBrute is the morphing function. So this is only the A patch. Now we can do something to create the B patch to morph it into. And one of the funnest ways to do that is you might just want to have a slight difference in sound between the two. So you can take the morph here, and you'll see here number 5. You can copy A to B. So all I have to do is hit number 5, and it's going to make that copy. So when I pan it over to B, it's now the same sound. And then I can make some slight differences here. Say, for example, I can go back to the oscillators and I can change what oscillator wave shapes are being used. So I'll switch them from the, let's see here, the sawtooth on the 2 to the pulse wave, the square wave, and I'll flip it back for oscillator 1 here. Okay, and I don't know, what else can we do here? Now that you have this as that, maybe I'll reduce the sub. And I'm going to make it a little bit darker. Alright, so that made it a lot more fun. But if I morph it back to A, I'll change it over to B. I have a sustain pedal that I'm holding. Alright, and now you'll see here on the display is automatically assigned to the morph because I have the morphe, excuse me, not the morph, the morphe, that's this little bugger right over here, assigned to the morph control. So I can also do it with the morphe here. A subtle difference, maybe we should try to make something a little bit more dramatic. maybe on the B here, we can actually give it a little bit more delay. Back to the A. Okay, well, that's as far as I'm going to go today. I just wanted to give you the basic feel of the synth, the workflow. There's so much more I could show you, but that'll be in the next episode. So please do share and subscribe. Thank you so much for your support. Check out tjontheroad.com for more. I'll see you next time.